Hi, I'm Rhonda Brown with Montana Bowl of Cherries, and welcome to the garden in June. Much of what Montana Bowl of Cherries is about is how everything in your garden can work together to bless your family, because we are also family caregivers and caregivers in general. That's where I go to work every evening. So there's been a lot of pivots that had to happen, a lot of things that might be seen as catastrophes, things that have not worked out well, that sometimes I just want to show you how some of those things can turn out to be the best thing for my garden this year, and I might do them moving forward. So let's just start. I'm going to start up here with the pots that are always on my front deck. Back in April, we had, I got some bad starting soil and I lost a bunch of plants in the indoor greenhouse. And some of those were the wave petunias, and I could not replace them. I had also bought some of these scarlet runner beans. So in my pivot, I just planted all of this from seed. And the scarlet runner beans are doing great. I tied a string around the bottom of around the top of the planter, and then I tied strings from that up and back down and made one string for each plant, and I put 6 seeds in each pot. And they're doing fantastic. I guess we will see what they will do moving forward. The wind has been really rough for the last few days, so there are some broken places, but it seems to me that the bigger the plant gets, the better it will be able to handle the wind here, and it will make its own wind protection as it goes. And this is clary sage and snapdragons. So part of this is edible landscaping, because these are edible and the flowers from this are edible as well. And I lied, it's not clary sage, it's borage. This is borage, and the yellow or the blue flowers are delicious in salads and teas. And this is the front garden, and only part of it is weeded. Not some of this is edible, not everything is edible here. This is milkweed. Obviously it's not edible for us, but it pollinators, especially monarch butterflies, absolutely love it. And here's the lamb's ears that I finally uncovered the other day. They serve no purpose for me, except I absolutely love how they feel, the texture, and how they look in this cottage garden, where I just have plantings of the daylilies and the lamb's ears, and this that I have no clue what it's called, but it just keeps growing here, so we let it. It turns red in the winter time. And my peony that is doing so well, it's at the end of its blossoming, but it's been absolutely beautiful. And then the painted daisies, and I will deadhead those or cut back the blossoms, and then they will come again later. But they are beautiful pink when they're doing well. And then the Shasta daisies that just come up everywhere. And then the part that I have not gotten to yet, because things keep happening. Weeding is just part of the garden, and so sometimes nothing ever looks great all at the same time, which is kind of like how my house goes, because nothing ever looks great all at the same time. And then this is bee balm, and I planted a whole bunch of plants of that. I've been working on getting that to grow really well. It's delicious in tea, and then also the pollinators love it, which is why it's called bee balm. But it's doing very well. Here is my spiral garden that there is another video about how and why I put in the spiral garden, so you can find that also on this YouTube channel. Some of the plants sat in their pots for a long time before they were planted, so they have not been in the ground for very long. It will take them a while to establish themselves and then start growing up. But I do think that this lime basil is going to make it. I am not sure about the purple ruffles basil, but where there is life, there is hope. So we will see what happens next. A lot of this that is coming, the little green stuff that's growing in here, is from the cottonwood trees, and so that will also have to come out, obviously, or I'll have trees growing in here. This is Nicotania. No, it is not edible. It is, in fact, poisonous. It gives off the most beautiful scent from the flowers in the evening as soon as it starts to cool off and get dark. So it is under my bedroom window, where that makes sense to have a beautiful smell in the evenings. And then there were some things in here that are not going to survive. I planted some nasturtiums, and they are starting to come up. And then I also have some, this is where I have some plants that I will show you that was from another failure that I think will fill in here very nicely for this year, and then we will build from there. Some of the sage is doing pretty well, and some of the sage is, we're not sure how it's doing yet. So we're still waiting to find out how that is going to survive. And the chives. So this is this garden. All right. So this is still a work in progress. The leaves are on the agenda for this week, is still trying to get rid of last fall's leaves, because once again, my gardens are not my entire life, and so things don't often happen in the timeline that I would like to have set. Here are some more daylilies that seem to like this shade pretty well, and these are sumacs. These are the trees that make the shade. They can handle the amount of sunlight that they get because there's also cottonwoods here. I could not dig except in specific areas. So most of these trees have come from spreading roots. There is all of the utility lines run here to get back out to the box that you can see out there. So everything was built. I built up. I brought in compost from my compost piles, and I built it up. So this year it needs to have some more building up done to it so that I can get some more plants to grow really well in here. But these seem to love it here, and they came up really well. I have several of them in several places. They are lilies. So over here there are some more lilies that are getting ready to bloom, and hostas like it in here. And then these things that I cannot tell you what they are, but they have little purple flowers on them, and They spread everywhere. And then this is yarrow, and it is only the white yarrow. And then I plant my mint. It also likes shade, and so I plant it in this pot to try and keep it contained. This pot also needs some dirt added to it. It used to be a fountain. And when everything got too much to take care of, I put some dirt in it and put the mint in it, and I left this in place because it kind of adds to the flavor of the garden. And then we'll go through the gate. Yes, my dogs are spoiled and they have their own pool. And we empty the water and put new water in it every day. Helps keep them cool when it is so warm outside. So these roses are doing so well. And then we also have hostas in this garden, and they are also doing well. And there is Gravy the garden cat helping us with our tour today. I put the cherry tomatoes in the big pots on the back deck. So as we walk out the back door, there is a snack. This is some more borage. Came back self-seeded from last year, and it does well with the tomatoes. And then here's my strawberry planters from a couple of years ago. And I put succulents in the bottom here that I just took cuttings from a succulent that grows in the house. I bought the strawberries, bare root, and there was 10 in a package, and they were only like $3.50 for the package, and I couldn't see inside the package to see if I was going to get anything that was live or not, but I figured I would give it a try, and nothing has grown. So these will have to go away, but that's part of what gardens do. So these succulents down here will go to the spiral garden in the front. And then I don't know if they'll survive the winter or not there. Probably not. And then here's the plant nursery. These are still plants that need to go somewhere. So they're here just to be watered and cared for every morning while I try and get where they need to go prepared. Here is my other raised bed that is my herb bed. Some more borage that self-seeded itself. See the beautiful little light blue flowers. And then this up here is basil and dill around the edges. The dill just comes back every year, but we use a lot of dill, so we don't ever argue with it. And this is the regular basil. It is starting, as you can see, it's starting to have new growth from when it was planted. So when you first transplant something, the leaves pretty much turn yellow, and then it gains ground as its roots get established, and it starts to put on growth at the top. And basil is really fun to watch do that because it does it very quickly. Over here there is some parsley, and some parsley that is planted, and then the rosemary on each end here. All right, and then we are headed out there, but first we're going to stop in the house and take a look at the chick brooder. We order our chicks every year from Murray McMurray Chick Hatchery, and we order them in January, but we don't have them shipped until June. So that means we put in our order for them, and then when it is closer to the time of our delivery date that we ask for, then they get them get the eggs ready to hatch, and then the eggs hatch, and they ship them to us immediately. So these little guys got here last week, and we've done several different things for chick brooders in the past, and there's only 10 of them. So this is a dog kennel. This was also Plan C. The other two plans that we have didn't come together. So there is also a video on this YouTube channel about this indoor chick breeder. The chickens are part of the garden, and I wanted you to see these cute little guys. So besides the people having a struggle this, and the plants having a struggle this spring, the lawnmowers have, neither one of them, been working. So thanks to our help from our neighbors, we got our lawn cut, so it's still kind of yellow. It will come back, and we are madly trying to fix the lawnmowers, but that's why the lawn looks the way it does, and that's why we don't have grass clippings in here where we have bare dirt. So I've been trying to get these really big weeds out of here. Uncle Mark always says you should let the weeds grow because it protects the plants from the hail, which is very true. It also comes to inhibit some of the plant growth, so we have to find a happy medium in there. But raspberries are coming in places where there is no water. So once I get these weeds out of here, the raspberries that aren't too big will be moved over here closer to the drip line so that they can get water all summer, because the rain has pretty much shut off. We're hoping that it will rain today, but there has to be another plan. So these are my rhubarb that I started from seed 3 years ago, and they have they've done amazing. So this is one. I have 5 plants throughout this space here, and then at the other end I will also show you the asparagus that I started. This is my cherry tree. It's done really well for a long time, and then this winter it mostly died. It does have some cherries that are coming on it, so we will let those happen, and then we'll figure out if this whole tree has to come down or if there's enough of it alive to save part of it. However, it did spread, and so I have this other cherry tree here. So if I lose this cherry tree, I'm not without a cherry tree, because I have this one that is already producing a little bit, and then next year it will produce more. And then here is some more of the rhubarb that I started from seed. So I've had one picking off of it, and it will have to wait until it comes a lot more leaves before I pick any more, or I will kill it. I have to leave enough for it to be able to have the leaves to photosynthesize in order to grow. And then this end has the asparagus. And we did get a few stalks of asparagus this year. This is the first year that we've gotten asparagus off of our own asparagus plants, but it's doing very well. It's falling over from the weight of it, and because the wind is so bad. This is the horseradish that we're gonna be digging out and cutting back, because it really will take over the whole space. And so we'll eat the roots that we dig out, and then bring it back to a much smaller space. Kind of has gotten away from me, which makes sense, because like I said, the garden is not my only focus. And then this is This is an herb that works very well on injuries. We use it especially on leg injuries, but it it helps your body when you have an injury. But the chickens also do really well with it, and right now I can't remember what it's called. But I just cut it back and throw it into the chickens, and then it will grow up again and it will bloom again. So I get several cuttings off of it every year, just like I get several cuttings off of the rhubarb every year. And then this is where the garden was last year. And so this is where the garden is this year, but we have to walk around the chicken fence to get there. So we'll be there in a minute. All right, here we are at the vegetable garden. And it took all of the month of May to get this planted, so our corn is just now coming up. It's all right. There's still plenty of time for it to make corn. I put plugs in the watering system for the last 2 rows here because we didn't get enough of it tilled. This needed to be worked a little better, and we just didn't get that far. So we will not have a pumpkin patch this year, which is okay, because there are 2 little girls in Terry who grow pumpkins and sell them, and so I just am going to get on their wait list, and when they have pumpkins, I'll buy my pumpkins and winter squash and gourds from them. This is corn all the way back to, these are the hot peppers, and I planted them a long ways from the mild peppers because my mild peppers keep taking on too much heat. And these are green beans that are coming up very well, and from seed that I bought. These are also green beans coming up from seed that I saved on this row right here. And I plant double rows of green beans and peas. So there's green beans on this side and there's green beans on this side of the water. So there's 2 rows coming up there. And then here's the summer squash and zucchini. And then the tomatoes. And the tomatoes need a lot of water. So when I lay out the drip tape, I put my sheep fence in between, right in the middle of 2 drip tapes, and then I plant next to the fence on each side with the tomatoes, and then I pull the drip tape in so that they're getting water from 2 sides. I was trying to use the trimmer because it's too dry to get the weeds out. So I was trying to use the trimmer and I broke the chicken fence. So I have to get the weeds out. That's why I'm hoping it rains, because I can't get the weeds out. And I can't fix the chicken fence until this is an electric fence to keep predators out of the chickens. So I'm hoping it rains today so I can get these weeds out of here so I can fix the fence that I broke. All right, so coming up here, we have beets and carrots, and then we have some greens, and I have my garden map in the house that tells me where everything is. But this right here is Swiss chard that's coming up here. And here's my cabbage plants. Not all of them are cabbage. Some of them are kale, other plants in the cabbage family. And then the radishes here, everything is planted along the drip line. So I put the drip line down and then I use the hoe and make a line. So these are the cucumbers, and there's cucumbers planted on each side of the drip line, the water line. And then they also have a trellis made out of sheep wire. And one side are the pickling cucumbers, and the other side are the Armenian cucumbers, because we really like those for eating. Here are my mild peppers. So the bell peppers, the paprika, this one's banana. They have blossoms and fruit on them. Here's a paprika that's coming. So they're doing very well, except they are also doing the part where the leaves turn yellow as they grow their stems after I first put them in. So this is the new growth, and it's got some blossoms on them. In a few days they will be doing just fine. I'll give them a little squirt of some Epsom salts here in the I put the Epsom salts in the soil around the roots, and that helps to set the blossoms and give them the magnesium that they need in order to thrive. And then at the end of them is some more greens, and then the potatoes. And I did not do a very good job of planting the potatoes in a straight line, so I have potatoes coming up all over the place, which is okay. I have one row of potatoes, and then I have 2 rows of peas, and once again the peas are planted on either side of the drip tape. And I have a bit of a leak over here in the drip tape over here, and it has to be fixed, but for now it's just spraying everywhere, which is all right for now. I'll get it fixed. When we plant on this side, the drip line for the water, it's the same line for that garden as it is for the vegetable garden. So where it runs underneath the chicken run, we put a piece of PVC pipe over it so that the chickens don't peck the line, because they enjoy the cool water that's going through it too. And then the chickens get the weeds, and they keep this down. I do have some bullies in my chickens, but I also have some really old hens that need to go away. So we will work on that, and then hopefully the bullying will stop. There have been a lot of things this spring that did not go well, but in the process there have been a lot of things this spring that when we pivoted, we found that we liked this second plan much better. So the thing that I always try to remember is that the garden is, it's always evolving. Whether it is something that I have worked on evolving, or whether it is a natural disaster, or things just die and you have to replace it with something. So I don't get too discouraged when things don't go the way I plan. It's not only what we do for food. It is an important part of our food, but it's also an important part of our mental therapy. We enjoy the garden work and enjoy the being outside and the smells and the tastes and the feels. And the fresh vegetables and the fresh fruit. It's all part of one package. And so we just go with what we get every year. And some years we have a lot of corn, and some years we have a lot of green beans, and some years we have a lot of cherries. And so we just go with that. If that's what we've got to work with, then that's what we use. All right. Thank you for joining me for my tour this month, and take a look at those other two videos that are also on the YouTube, new to the YouTube channel this week.